Hi, I'm Amanda with Lumber Revolution, and we're so excited to launch our first ever DIY subscription box kit for our tray decor. So I'm going to show you how to take this and turn it into something like this. All right, so when you open your box, everything should be, it's all going to arrive stacked up, and it should be already kind of sorted for you, but you're going to want to make sure that you have everything sorted out where it belongs with each piece. So like my favorite color is autumn, all of that's together. The hello fall on the round. You have the little banner with the leaves, and then this twine that's not the tassel one, but just the plain twine will go with that. And then this pumpkin will have 4 layers. You'll have your instructions, you'll have your picture of the kit, and then you'll have the beads. This goes with this in the tassel, and then you'll have, this one is your stain. These are the sponges for painting, and then your paint, are in these little pouches that you can easily tear open to paint. All right, and so we're gonna start painting. What I like to do is just put something down to protect the surface of wherever you're painting. And then I like to start with the lightest colors and go darker. So we're gonna start with the white, and I just put them on this little plasticky thing to hold all my paint. And what I do is I just dab the sponge on and get a little bit, and then I just dab. More. So, and then obviously these are the colors that we have included in the kit, but you can go and do any other color scheme that you would like, and to get creative and try different colors and stuff to make it personal, like to what's going to fit best with your house. So, and then this, you don't need a ton of paint, especially like this look that we have on these trays are more of like a distressed, worn out look. So you don't need a ton of paint, and it's gonna be kind of matte. So you can see, and then I'm just gonna set that to dry, and then we're done with the white paint. So then I'm going to move on to the orange, and I'm just going to use the guide and see what pieces, all the different ones that were orange. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did. So I'm gonna start painting this, and then we'll probably speed it up while I paint this, and then I'll show you what's next. All right, so then this paper towel is getting kind of full. So what I do is sometimes, depending on what I'm doing next, I think there'll be space, I'm just gonna fold it in half before I get a new one, just to not waste as much. So then I'm gonna move on to the stained pieces. So on this, with the stain, I just do the same kind of technique where I'll dab it and put it on. And then after that, I just make sure to wipe off the excess on the paper towel. And then I do both sides. So then on this piece, we're just gonna do the top because the back of these pieces have sticky back that we'll use later once we assemble. I'll explain how that works. Then we're going to do the last color, which is black. All right, and then on the letters, you just want to make sure that you don't have a ton of paint and go very light because they don't really need a whole lot. The sponge absorbs a lot, so you really don't need a whole lot, and you don't want it to be all drippy over the edges and stuff. And then when you do have a thinner coat like this and sponge it on, the dry time's a whole lot quicker too. We're going to do that. And then what's awesome with these sponges, they're just makeup sponges that I use. So you can rinse these out. With the stain, you can try to rinse them out. They wear out a little faster than just rinsing them out with the paint because the stain builds up in it more. But I rinse these out, and like I use this and I cut this piece out, so they work really well for those. So, all right, well, I'm gonna let this dry for about 10 minutes and everything should be dry. I'm gonna do any touch-ups that I see at this point, like just some of the areas that I missed and stuff. And then we're gonna let that dry for 10 minutes and then we're gonna come and put it all together. So we included a piece of sandpaper in with the DIY kits as well. You don't have to use it. I'm going to go and distress this because I want it to have that little bit of a worn out look. And I already have my sander, but you can just use this with your hand to sand it. So then I'm just gonna go and take it to all of the black pieces and all of the orange pieces. And I'm going to lightly sand those in the corners and on the edges and in the corners and stuff. And then we'll speed this up too. All right, now that all of those are distressed and then sanded a little bit, and then you can distress this as much or as little as you would like. That's all up to you. So then I'm gonna kind of put them back in the same area that they were at the beginning. So I'm gonna organize them again just to try to make it simple. And we go to put all the pieces together. And you can kind of start seeing everything come together. So then you don't need the paper towel anymore. I'm gonna start putting the pieces together. So then for the Hello Fall, well, all of these, if you look at the back, they have this masking on them. And when you peel that, it is basically a giant wooden sticker. So you'll just peel the backing and just be very careful on the words, especially just because they're so tiny, some of them, especially the smaller ones for that other sign. And I don't want them to break on you. So if something were to break, you could use super glue to glue it back together, or even a hot glue. So then you can place this anywhere that you want. I'm going to try to do something similar to what I did in the picture. You just drop it and then you just push it down, and they're not going to go anywhere. With this sticker, you're not going to be able to pull it off. All right, and then so with the banner, what you do want to be careful on, especially since we stain these, the stain typically takes about 24 hours to dry. So I wouldn't, it's like fine to touch, it's not necessarily going to come off on your fingers, but if you were to lay this on top of another piece, that might bleed over. So you don't want that to happen. All right, so on this, I alternate them like this, and then you're going to just start weaving it through. Yes, I like to weave it through the front. So from the back to the front. Still, and it's still safe, like even when you stain that, it's still safe to go and put it onto the string. You just want to leave it set somewhere basically overnight so it has just longer to dry overall. All right, and then with this, you're going to have a lot of extra twine too on each side, just depending on how droopy you want it, that you could spread them out more, or you can have them bunched closer together depending on how big your tiered tray is. So when you do that, all I do is you take it, make a loop, oops, and then tie it in a knot. And then I will go and cut off the excess in a moment. So this one will be a little bit more challenging and harder to see. On here there are score marks where it has the outline of the letters and where they go so that it's easy to place, but especially with the black background, it's hard to see. So I might sand it slightly more so that it might be easier to see. And then the last one that we're going to do is the garland tassel. So we'll peel. Layer it, and then we're going to string all the beads on here. One trick that I like to do is take a piece of tape. Try it again. Take a piece of tape, put it over, cut it at an angle. That's gonna make it way easier to string. To get through. So then once we have all of them strung, we're just going to take this and then tie it into a knot several times. And another thing you can do, you don't have to, is you could go and hot glue it on there. I typically do, just to add some extra support to make sure it's not going to go anywhere, and then you can just trim the excess. But there you go. There are all the pieces that were in this month's kit and how we put them all together. Thanks so much for watching and making our first DIY subscription box with us. Here's a sneak peek of next month's box, and you can find the link for both our finished and our DIY subscription boxes below. Our subscription box subscribers also get 15% off of our whole entire website, so make sure you check that out as well. Thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.